There we go. Hey guys, and welcome. I am the Seven Swords, and we are back with Factorio. This is our 10th stream, if I'm keeping track of these properly, which I hope I am. And today, I'm apparently starting without music. One second. There we go. Turned out my headset was also messed up. Hopefully that's not messing with my audio setting. One second while I check that. Yep, you guys should be able to hear me. Um, Today we're actually not working on the normal system. Today we're going to be working on a third base, another base, because last episode, and last stream, and in between streams, I finished doing the, where is it? The Legendary Science. We now have Legendary Science completed, which means that we can now get Legendary items. So we will be replacing all of this in order to make Legendary of all three, or of all four module types. So we're going to go ahead and tear this apart. Now that might turn off all that system, which it did. We're going to have to reconnect these real quick. And then that still has connection. Okay. But we are going to be resetting this up so that we can have all three of the modules being made. These red circuits are also a good show that we're not having enough red circuits being made. We actually do not need this many productivity modules, and I don't want that many productivity modules. But we're going to be building it over here. I am thinking that the idea would be to set up here and then just go like that. So basically everything to the left here is going to be our new area to work with. Then turn that on. That needs to have a connection to the system. What this base will be doing, though, is it's going to be making legendary modules. So we can start getting our modules set up. Because the one thing we're going to need a lot of if we plan on going to a legendary base is modules. All of them. Now, the first thing we need to set up is we're going to basically be setting up this exact same system. Basically this one to be specific. Because I plan on using the void sheds to make this. What we're going to do is we'll do this, and then we're going to undo all of this. And this will just be so we're having as much raw material coming in for free on the new system. I actually probably could keep this as like a cedar blueprint, since that gives us basically access to all the material that we could ever need. Now, since we have the space for it, I'm probably going to set it up like this. It's a passive provider warehouse, which we're going to go ahead and give it, but we're going to replace it with a normal warehouse. The module base will use no form of bot control. We're just going to be building with bots. We're not going to be using a logistics system over here, except for providing the items to a logistics network. Yeah, this all got messed up. Just fine. It'll all get dealt with in time. That'll at least get that started. Now, for the modules, first important thing to realize with the modules is that the first thing they take is circuits, green circuits and red circuits and blue circuits, and then they take a special item from each of the different planets. So we're looking at tungsten carbide for speed modules, spoilage for efficiency modules, biter eggs for productivity modules. We might make them up to productivity 2 and then have a special system for productivity 3, because productivity 3 is going to be a problem with biter eggs. And then finally, the most important of the original 4 modules is quality modules, which is superconductors. An interesting thought process is to do the other modules as well. We most likely will be doing these, although, do we have a productivity 3 void module? I feel like we should. Yep, we do. We're going to throw that into the queue as well. We're going to take away the asteroid processing. We will be getting into that soon, but not yet. So we're going to have that. So we're going to do this one first, since we're working on modules right now. So we're going to be using a lot of these electromagnetic plants. We might be using a few foundries. I'm not entirely certain yet, because I don't know how we're going to process our ore. We might just process our ore with electric furnaces. I might just be lazy about it. I haven't decided yet. And of course, we're going to be looking at switching out all 4 modules with legendary qualities instead of having epic qualities. But obviously, like I said, the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need circuits. Red, green, and blue. And we're probably going to be making green circuits, red circuits, and then blue circuits, and then having them fill. We're not going to go to full of these. This needs green circuits, this needs red circuits and blue circuits, this needs red circuits. So they all 3 need red circuits. So that's 3, 6, 9. That's 12 red circuits. 24 blue circuits. And 4 green circuits. So that's good for that. The blue circuits is going to be probably one of the more annoying ones. And the fact that it's also going to be trying to do productivity we're going to be trying to make every module every type. So we're going to be looking to make all 4 of the modules. 1 second while I take a quick drink. Alright. But we're going to be working on our modules. Now our other option is to do scrap, because scrap does provide the 3 circuits. We obviously get green, red, and blue circuits from scrap. We also get wires, we also get iron, we basically get all the stuff we're going to need. We might look into that. The one thing we're going to be doing, though, is I'm going to be removing the stuff we don't need for circuits. So we don't need disgusting slime, we don't need wood, we don't need stone bricks, we don't need stone, and we don't need coal. We only need ore and iron. We might use coal for the processing of oil. I haven't decided yet, because I do know that we have the coal liquefaction, which might be good for our coal recipe. And then we could also do other stuff, because we're going to need plastics for the different ones. And obviously we're going to need superconductors and other such stuff. We also probably will melt down this stuff into its byproducts. into flux fluid in order to use up them for flux fluid. So we know we're not going to need disgusting slime, we're not going to need stone, we're not going to need stone brick, and we're not going to need wood. So the first one will be disgusting slime. I know it pulled all disgusting slime out already. That's not a problem. Wood. Stone brick. And of course, basic stone. And then what we can do is, if I want to set this up here, 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll just set this up here for now. And then of course, we can bring this over. Disgusting slime can go down this way. Wood can go down this way. Stone bricks can go this way. Oops. Undo. And then finally, stone can go this way. Yeah, we'll probably use coal for coal liquefaction. We're also going to be destroying the excess. I'll have a process to destroy the excess as well. But we're not going to set that up until later. And then the other thing I want to set up is, go ahead and set this up. Prioritize left. And then this is just to make sure that we don't ever 1, 2, and 3, so about there. No. There. And then we can do this, and this, this, and then like that. And then what that'll do is it'll keep the stone from, that'll take care of stone backing up, and then basically we'll do the same with all of these. So what we'll easily be able to do is just copy this, put one there, and finally put one there. And then all we have to do before we hook up the lines is remove these so that they can dump the excess into the void. And then the reason we do this is that we don't want this to back up. It's free resources, so if it gets destroyed, it's not a problem. It does not take us anything to destroy it, so there's no reason in keeping the excess. I would rather melt everything down that we can, but it's obviously not a necessity to melt everything down. It would be much better to just destroy everything if we have to. Oh. Apparently disgusting slime cannot be recycled. I was not aware of this. Or at least they can't be recycled through these. What we can recycle them through is, I know that they can get recycled through this. Which is kind of a weird, which would be kind of a complaint from me. At least I think they can be recycled from this. They might not be able to be recycled through this. Apparently they can't. That's okay. I can easily set it up with this. It's going to use spoilage to start off with because that's what's in my inventory. But that's not a huge deal. Make this. I'm thinking that we could make one of the other ones, but we'd get a bunch of raw byproduct as well. And I don't want to deal with that. Alright, and now Now, what we will be using the flux fluid for is, I haven't decided yet. Obviously, we're going to be doing oil processing over here, so that might be part of our oil processing, because we are going to need different oil products for this, which is one reason we might use coal and coal liquefaction, because coal liquefaction can create better oil, I'm under the impression of. Once this is finished, we should go back to, technically we don't need lightning collectors, so technically this is a useless research. The only reason that I'm doing it is because of the fact that I don't have a excuse for not doing it. Because I'd like to get all the researches done, even if we don't need them, because I don't. Then it'll make picking a research easier. Let's get Spidertrons, actually. I could really use Spidertrons. They're really useful for, not only for base expansion and stuff, but they're also useful for just processing material. No, not really processing material, they're more just useful for base expansion. So, we'll get to that. Do we only have one oil refinery coming to me, or is there just only one in the system? There might only be one in the system. Let's go fix that real quick. We'll go back down to the bot network and add it to the bot network somewhere. If we have anywhere to add something to the bot network. Does not look like it. Let's go ahead and add on to our bot network. Not that one. Here we go. We'll go ahead and add 2 more to the bot network, 2 more lines to the bot network. I would like refineries. And maintain, let's say, 50 refineries. It will be slow, but it'll be fine. What are we looking at? Navi storage system space is unavailable. Alright, I started running into this in my test world, where we have this lack of storage space. Because I have way too much stuff being put into storage. Like, all this stone should not be going into storage. Like, stone is one of the things that we get a lot of byproduct from stuff. Which might be the only reason to actually clear out the system. Why do we have so many logistics bots in our system? Yeesh. Grab this. Requester. And request logistics bots. There we go. Now it'll fill this with logistics bots, and the system will have way too many logistics bots in it. Which will be fine. Oh, it's requesting down more space science. Eventually I will have to destroy the entirety of the base. But when we do that, it'll be because we have built we'll have had the beginnings of our final base started, and I will be wanting to get rid of this because it's going to start lagging the game at some point. And I obviously don't want to deal with that if I don't have to. I also took down the Aquilo Science, which was originally over here. We do have a lot of Aquilo Science saved up. If I go over here real quick, we'll notice this chest is nearly full of cryogenic science. So we have a lot of cryogenic science saved up. I also have a system over here which basically takes in the gleba science, and it basically, when it gets to this chest, the spoilage will try to get pulled out through here, so it's constantly draining spoilage, even if this is all backed up. Because gleba science usually ends up being my bottleneck, but that's because we're only making one science thing of gleba science. All right, enough distractions. Now have our refineries being made. We obviously have our products being sorted. We have coal, we have copper, and we have iron. I think the next thing we should work on is working on an idea for our process, which if we do petroleum gas, light oil, and heavy oil, and then what I do is the refineries go in there. We'll just do this, bring it down to like here, then bring it down to like here. Go ahead and do, so this will take heavy oil, light oil, this will produce heavy oil, light oil, and petroleum gas, while this will produce heavy oil, light oil, and petroleum gas, but it produces a lot more heavy oil, which this actually probably would be the one I want to use. So it would take heavy oil, steam, and coal. We're going to plan on it being this one. I'm kind of wishing there was a way to I kind of wish there was a way to boil water and use like electricity. I wish there was like an electric boiler in the base game. Because that would be a lot easier to get steam that way versus getting it the other way. I could technically make it with nuclear power, but I don't want to do that. This one can go to that one. That to that. And is it long enough to go to this one? It is not, but that's okay. It would technically go to there, but we'll do the there. And then we'll run one pipe this way. And the other pipe will run this way. I just realized we don't have the space over here to run the steam pipe. We have to have the one thing sticking out for the steam pipe. Now I need to figure out how to get coal to these. Which, the easiest way might be to just run it like this. And then have it pulling off the coal belt like that. But where is this gonna get its... This will just be easier just to set it up like this. And then what we can do is I can bring it up like this. There we go. And then what I can do is run this. That. Split it into two. Put it through there. And there. And then what I'll do is I'll only do like 2 groups of coal liquefaction, and then we'll switch over to one of the other ones for the rest of it. There we go. And then build this so that the bots can come take care of that. Once we set up the connection point between these. And then that should lead it back to the system. So there should be bots on their way. Alright. All those bots take their time getting over here. I can run a belt like this. And then this can be our coal belt. Now this one is going to matter which one it's pulling from, so I'm going to turn it around so that it refreshes the belt, even though I think it was all coal. And then it can pull coal like that. And now it's pulling coal, which it'll make heavy oil in a minute. What I am going to do is I'm going to set these up to the heavy oil tank and basically say I only want it running if heavy oil is less than like 2,000 or something. I might change that later, depending on how much oil could be held in these. I don't remember the contents of these though. Storage volume is 2,500. It's 25,000. So 25,000. So let's go with 10,000 instead. If it's got less than 10,000, these can be running. If not, they shouldn't be running. And then what I can do is okay, wrong one. I don't know what I just undid. Yep, we'll find out later. What I wanted to do was I wanted to copy it. Remove this. And then what I can do is place that down. Then what I do is this. Because I don't want more than 2 of these running at any time. I mean more than 4 of these running. Because I don't need that much. Oh wow, that went through all that coal already. That's interesting. That was fast. Alright, now we need a steam power. So what we're going to do for steam is we'll set a boiler up here. I will put one of these here. I will say do it with that. I will do, I wonder. No, I cannot do it there. I was hoping I could do the process there, but I guess I can. And then we'll do the inefficient, just turning flux fluid straight into that. And then I'm just going to make the flux fluid here. I could use the flux fluid of this system, but I'm not going to. And then, nope, that's not going to work. That'll work. And now that will create water, which will then create steam, which will then fill these up. Now this needs 10 steam per second. This produces 60 steam per second, so it should be more than enough. And then what I will do for this is this. And then we'll just say prioritize left so that it's always feeding the steam boiler. Which all of this will start running once that gets more coal. Right now it doesn't have enough coal and it doesn't even have the heavy oil it needs. But that's fine. Okay. Go ahead and hook these up. That's hooked up there. That's hooked up up to there, and that's hooked up to there. Okay. Alright. So the next thing that we're going to do is I want to pull these down a bit so that there's more space between them. And these will be this just straight up water and oil processing. And the plan with this is to have 4 of these. Alright, and then what we can do next is just pull these, one there, and one there. And then that will give us that process. Go ahead and grab this next bit so that we have our system extended down to these. And then I will go ahead and place here and here for now. I don't know how the pipe system is going to work for these, so for now it's just going to be set up like that. Alright. That will put our process into the oil cracking process. We still need water, which technically I could pull the water from here. Which I'm going to do that because the water will backflow if it's not enough, or if there's too much. And I can always add more to the process, more water pumping to the process later. Go ahead and do an underground pipe here to save some pipe. I might have to replace the pipe though because we might need more water. And if we do, I'm probably going to build the system over here to add more water to it. Alright. So the next thing to do is now I want 2 more refineries down here. Actually go with 3 refineries. That's probably way more than enough than what we're going to need, but that's fine. So this, and this. This, and this, and this. Alright, so for petroleum gas, we're going to go here, to here, to here, to here, and then connect the petroleum gas into that. For water, we're going to connect it to there. Then connect that to there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come up to here real quick. And I need to move this setup. So cut this setup. Put it there. And then we put a top-up valve here. So that the water doesn't constantly just overfill this. Do I have anything that's burnable in here? Not really. I have 200 spoilers, that'll work. That'll process that steam real quick. And then that'll have this water being used up first, since that's one of the byproducts. And then this one, we'll connect these to here. And then up to here, we go this one. Go with this one, and this one. And we need the oil to be brought over to this side as well, so move these real quick. There we go. And then you will do oil. If I say this one, yeah, let's go with this. Underground pipes, underground pipes, underground pipes. This is probably going to be making more oil than we need, but that's fine. And then what I want is these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then what this one will do is we're going to be doing the correlation process. Run this flukes up there. Output color fluid. These this one. Ah, crap, I forgot to cut that. Place that there. finally, these can go down to this way. This is probably overkill with the amount of prismarine shards we have here. But I'd rather have more than enough than not enough. It'll make this process a lot easier in the long run. We are going to need to get this process started for this to work, though. So that needs, yes, it does. And then what we need to make this is carbon, quillium, and that. Which the easier way to do this is just going to get the system started. Is just to turn this on and say, you want these. We'll wait till these get over here. Once it gets up to a certain number, I'm going to stop it. That'll be more than enough. Now we need the prismarine plates, which I don't think I have any current. I have 100 on me. Now what this will do is it'll get the system started, which will start making prismarine ore. Which what I do want to do is I do want to have this here and then say, I want you to disable if you have less than 250 prismarine ore. And then that'll keep the prismarine ore count well enough. Next, we're going to make a couple of these. Because I think we can only make prismarine ore into prismarine plate like this. We're going to check real quick just to make sure that I can't do it like in a foundry or something to make it at a better quality, and no, we can't. Because the only more alternate recipes are from bringing stuff in from the void. So the easiest way to make it will be to cook it. And then what we'll do with this is we'll say this, we only want about 500 prismarine plates. Where's the prismarine plates at? Where's the void stuff? It should be in this area. There it is. And then 500. And then bringing this out, we only want prismarine ore. And then finally, that gives us our prismarine plates. Now, an argument is that it's not going to is that the system is not very quick, which is very true. The system is not very quick. So what I can do is when we get to some speed modules up and running from this module base, I can start turning this up by increasing these, or I can always build a furnace system down here in order to run it a lot better. But for now, we're just getting this system started. I'll bug test it and figure out improvements once we get the system started. There we go. Next, this wants the flux fluid, which we should have some pump jacks somewhere in the system, I would think. Might not be within range of the system. No, we are. Nope, we just don't have any in the system. That's fine. We might not have any void circuits in the system, which is fine. Go ahead and give me void circuits. We'll let the void circuits build up for a second. Once we do that, we can get the pump jacks. We can build the pump jacks and start pulling in what we need from the pump jacks. Which we can simply just do by doing this. 5 there, 5 there. I might add more. This might be overkill. It might not be enough. I will add more if necessary. Because I don't know how many of these we're going to need. I don't know how fast this system's going to run. This makes 9 per second. These process 80 per second. So let's switch on our. Let's check. Let me check my calculator real quick. So 9 times 3 equals 27. 80 divided by 27. 2.9. So technically, this should be fast enough on its own. Might not be, though. We can easily do, just to make sure that it is throw down 3 more stacks. Or throw down 2 more stacks. So 5, 10. And then I need more of the void circuits. Void circuits. There we go. Now it'll be processing enough. Now our problem is too much water, which I had a feeling that might be a problem. We're also not burning through water anymore. Let's see if we can burn up a little bit more water. That's the problem of the inability to get rid of water. What I can do is I can increase the amount of volume we can have of water. And then that will help us get the system started. Start running these. Which actually, what we would want from that is an overflow valve. Just so that it does build up in the system before it uses, so that we know we have more than enough fluid being made in the system. Because right now it's trying to keep up with this ore, but it should build up in the system over time, which it is. There it goes. Slowly it'll pump out the excess, which this has more than enough oil. This is now processing this. These just need water, which I did not run the pipes for those yet. But that'll be easy enough. There's our water supply for those. This needs a high heavy oil for that as well. That needs to go to there, so that it's reading that. And now it's reading this. And now it's saying, okay, I will make heavy oil. but it will not start until I have the system running. We probably won't need heavy oil. We probably only need petroleum gas, light oil, and we probably only need petroleum gas because I think petroleum gas goes into plastics, and I think plastics are the only thing we need for circuits. But we will deal with that later. Alright, so the next thing to do is to figure out where we're going to get our, how we're going to process for our iron and copper that we need to make our circuitry. Because we now have plastics and we have our sulfuric acid figured out, because that's coming from oil. It will have us, we'll make the process once I figure out how everything's to be laid out. The first thing I want to figure out, though, is how we're going to do our metals. Now, electric furnaces are simple enough because I don't need anything else in order to process iron ore into iron plates utilizing. We either need to do it in an electric furnace, or we need to do it with a foundry. Which, to do it in a foundry, we need to use calcite, which we need to bring calcite in from a third location, which we could easily use the Coriolis fluid to make calcite. Would not be difficult. Which then we would process that in a foundry, and that would make our iron. I need to go deal with a situation real quick. I will be back momentarily. Alright, I'm back. But yes, I don't really want to use calcite, so we're just going to make it in. I'm trying to avoid spaghetti. I'm doing the best I can. But yeah, we're probably going to do electric furnaces instead of doing foundries, merely because I feel like foundries will be easier to set up. There's our 2-to-1. I saw our 1-to-1. I may have been incorrect. That's another 3-to-1. Oh, we have furnace setup. So yeah, we're going to use furnaces. Furnaces will be slightly easier. Now let's see. The most I could have is 3. I know that I'm going to need a good amount of iron and copper. I will admit there is a little bit of spaghetti, but that's unavoidable at certain points with these kind of builds. I either have to embrace belt spaghetti or very slow bot transport. And I would rather deal with belt spaghetti than slow bot transport. Because there are belts that are going all over this base in order to pull stuff together. I can promise that I'm going to do everything I can to avoid spaghetti when I build the final base. Until then, it's just my starter base. I have to wonder if we're actually ever going to do a Factorio run together. Change of plan. You will be copper. You will be iron. Yep. Now it's now it's 4 belts each, and it should be about active for it, because there should be a good decent amount of stuff being ran, which, yeah, that coal's not going to get used up fast enough, so we need a process to get rid of that. Give me these. That'll work. There we go. Now that'll clean up all the excess copper ore. I mean, coal. Now, technically, we are going to back up on iron and copper. We will be fixing that also with a bleeder belt eventually for iron and copper, which I'll probably pull on either side of this and then set them up to be destroyed down here. And bring this back this way. You missed it? What do you think you missed? Me explaining what the bleeder belt was? Why we dump coal? Because we don't use coal nearly enough. Coal is used up for... The only things that coal is being used for is coal liquefaction and running the steam boiler for coal liquefaction. And that's not going to be nearly enough to burn out the excess of the sheer amount of coal that we're going to be producing. Oh, we dump coal because it's useless. The only things that are going to be needed for this base that are being pulled from here is a very small amount of coal, copper, and iron. We're not even going to need much of anything else. I actually need to also bleed coal and iron, but I haven't set that part up yet, which I might as well set that up now. And the main reason we're bleeding those resources is because we're getting an infinite supply of those that are at cost free. So there's no reason to consider ourselves with whether or not we keep them. It's better to just get rid of them. We don't need them. There and there. If iron is greater than 500, which I think that can be greater than 500. How much coal? No, that won't work. If it's greater than 400. And then bring this down to here, but make this one copper. And then we do this and this. You are whitelisted to iron. And you are whitelisted to copper. We won't need this many of these, but there's no reason not to put down a bunch of them. When your resources are unlimited, there's no reason to not just put extras. Now that'll bleed off the excess iron and copper. So now the system should never stop running, because it should always be processing or burning off the resources we do not need. which means it'll drain these constantly, and these will produce infinite resources with no cost whatsoever, except to game performance, which we're not running into any issues yet. Once we start running into lag, I will start getting rid of the old base and other stuff. I kind of do wish there was like a late game, like, and I mean like it could be super late game way of getting rid of pollution. I know there's ways of doing it in the base game, and I can always plant trees, but with the small area that I can plant trees, I wish that there was a way to get rid of pollution just so I could get rid of the pollution cloud. Technically, I could just do this, and then we don't have to worry about the pollution cloud, and it doesn't have any effect since we don't have biters, but still. But that gets our iron and copper running, which what I am going to do now is I'm going to bring the copper belt down to here. And I'm going to bring the iron belt down to here. As we're probably going to do it as a left-sided main bus. We might do a right-sided main bus. Probably going to do a left-sided main bus though. But I'm going to bring everything over to here. I might run... Copper and iron are in the wrong positions for what I wanted to do. Because I was going to do a left-sided main bus, but this is better for a right-sided main bus because I want iron as close to it as possible. It's fine. It's fine. I'll deal with it later. We'll do a left-sided main bus, and I'll just deal with the fact that iron's going to be farthest away from it. It technically won't matter with the way this is being set up. Go ahead and get rid of all these deconstruction blueprints. They can go into our storage system for now. I wish there was a way to tell, have in your inventory where if you have more than one deconstruction blueprint, it gets rid of all the rest. Because I have a tendency to just hit this button down here, and that constantly adds another one to my inventory. Very annoying. We could always just go to the left. I could always just run these over this way and have it be a northern belt and just have this belt go out like this one down here. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have it be a northern belt. That will also help us with the oil processing. There goes the system being as active as it possibly can be. As we'll see, I can run this for as long as I want, and the excess will just get destroyed. Which is good. Got every bit now running full tilt. And water will always keep itself topped up. I could technically add in another system to bring more water in if I needed to, but it's actually not necessary. I'll have to come down here once in a while and check to make sure the process is still running properly, but I don't think there will be an issue, especially with this top-up valve. Bunny? Did you see a bunny, or what made you think bunny? I would have expected penguin if it was just going to be a random animal. Bunny floating over a building. I don't think I'm going to. I think you're just crazy. Bunny floating over a building in game. Oh! You're talking about my mech suit being able to float over buildings? Not a bunny. let's see. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, yeah. $256 times speed. What does my phone want? No. My phone's giving me an update letting me know it's going to rain in the next few hours. Not a problem. All the things I need to take care of that would be affected by the rain is not a lot, so I could always take care of it later. Now, we do have an issue of petroleum gas being a problem. Oh, these are turned off because we have more than 10,000 heavy oil. But we're also going to be using... Mech just bounced up and down at high speed on top of a building. It looked like a bunny. Really? Oh yeah, it kind of does. Let's get a blueprint real quick. Setup of basically this. Run this way. And then I'm going to run it down this way because we're going to do oil cracking right here. Technically don't need to do oil cracking yet, but we might as well get started with it. Just so that we have oil cracking being processed. Here comes the bot swarm. You can tell where the building zone for the bots stops. There we go. Oh. Got mad because it ran out of power. There we go. They're not bees. Be a lot more of a problem if they were. Now, the question becomes, can I do oil cracking in one of these? Yes, I can. Problem with it is those are going to need nutrients. They're just bumble butt workers. That's not funny. That's not funny, even though I laugh at it. The question is, do I want to do nutrients first? Do I want to deal with nutrients in order to have to not deal with, Not really. Because if I have to deal with nutrients, then I have to deal with spoilage. And I don't want to deal with spoilage. So, probably about here. You're not wrong, although sometimes I think that those construction bots look more like upside down beetles. Like if I grab one real quick. Where are you going? But if you look at it, you can see like the pincers look like look like the pincers on beetles. So it looks like a beetle that's facing the floor. The logistics bots are probably the same, although I don't have any in my inventory to prove that. I like how a logistics bot just brought me a construction bot. Or at least one should be at some point. That's an argument as well. I don't think there's enough of them. Alright, this one is going to be for heavy oil. My brain instantly thinking I made this a lot harder on myself because of the fact that I didn't keep enough space for the water. Not a problem. It won't be super difficult. It'll just make this a lot bigger of a footprint than it needs to be. Overflow. I wish if I ran out of an item, I could set it up to be that if I didn't have any more of whatever item I was placing in my inventory, it would automatically start placing a ghost. It would make this a lot simpler. There we go. And then all we have to do to fix this is set this up as a light oil cracking process instead. And then thanks to the overflow valves and stuff like that, we won't need to worry about the system telling the system when to shut down and when to turn on, because it will automatically determine it based on what it needs. There we go. That's the cracking process finished. And then what I'm going to do is turn these off and put pumps here, and that will pull all of the fluids to this part of the system, so that we won't have to worry about not having enough. It'll always drain the systems and keep us full. Now, I don't think we need heavy oil or light oil for any of the circuitry or any of the modules, because green and red circuits don't need any oil except for plastics, which is made from petroleum gas. Level 2s only need blue circuits, which takes sulfuric acid, which comes from petroleum gas. Tungsten carbide, I'm pretty sure that might be sulfur. That might have to do with sulfur. But I think, again, that's just petroleum gas. The only thing that heavy oil gets turned into, let's take a look at that real quick. So, the only thing that heavy oil becomes is, no, that's everything that's made by it. Huh. Do we really only consume heavy oil as a flamethrower? No, we also need lubricant, which comes from heavy oil. Okay. Okay, so it's used in coal liquefaction, which we're already doing that. Cracking it, which we're already doing that. Making it into solid fuel, which we don't need for the things. Lubricant, we need them for electrolyte, which I think electrolyte goes into making the superconductors. Could be wrong, though. Looks like I might be wrong. What makes superconductors? Light oil. So we're going to need light oil for superconductors, which we need for the quality modules. Chromium plates, plastics, and coppers. So we're going to need a lot of petroleum gas, which is a good thing because then we're going to be using up all the petroleum gas. But I don't think we're going to need any heavy oil, because this goes into our tier 3 modules. So that's a good thing to be keeping it in mind. But spoilage doesn't take it. Binder eggs doesn't take it. Like I said with tungsten carbide, that comes from sulfuric acid, which comes from sulfur, which is petroleum gas with water. So we will not be needing that. Let's go back to this real quick. Keep running our system. Because what I might do next is we might grab our sulfur. We might make our sulfur recipe next. Because we need water for sulfur. Plastics needs coal, so actually we need a coal line brought down here. Oops. I forgot about the coal line. We're gonna be lazy about the coal line. It's not spaghetti, it's innovation. What do you mean there's no difference? Oops. Broke the petroleum line. Build my minions. That's fine. What do you mean that? Oh. Oh, that's a problem. And now... delete. And go. There we go. Now technically, we do have another belt up here. I could just do a belt of coal from up here. Oh, they have Spidertrons. We will make a Spidertron eventually. Not right now. Actually, Spidertron right now would actually be extremely useful. Maybe later. We'll make legendary Spidertrons later. That'll be what we do. Alright. First thing we're going to need, that I know that we're going to need, that's going to be slightly easier to make this way, is sulfur. Which can be made in a cryogenic plant, or it can be made in a chemical plant. Go ahead and turn on cryogenic plants. I don't know how many we're making, so I don't know how many is in the system. I don't know if we're actually making cryogenic plants right now. I don't think we are. Now, cryogenic plants needs sulfuric gas and water. Sulfur needs sulfuric gas and water. Or not sulfuric gas, petroleum gas and water. And what I can do for that is bring this up like so. Then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, these don't get a production bonus like everything else. It just got a lot of equipment grid, or a lot of modules. I personally would have rather have had the productivity bonus, but that's not what they gave us. There we go. There we go. Now that might not be enough sulfur, but if it's not, I'll come back here and improve it later. But I don't want to deal with that because of how I set up the water and everything. Because I didn't set it up properly. This is not expandable at all. It's expandable to a degree, but the water is going to be a pain to set up in expandability. What I'll probably do is I'll bring it back and then run it down if we need more sulfur, but I don't know how much sulfur we're going to need, so for now that's going to be enough. Now, what I'm thinking we should do, I've been thinking, a dangerous pastime, I know, but since we don't need plastics yet, because we only need plastics for when we're doing red circuits, and we can make the green circuits with the other ones, we're going to start working on getting the green circuit set up. all the bots? Here they come. Bot swarm! I have to stay standing in the orange zone so they can bring me landfill. Alright. How we're going to do this is, if I bring this up to about here, 1, 2, and 3. This wants to make green circuits. And then place there, and there, and then there, and there, and there, and there. Place down some medium electrical poles. All those green circuits. We're also going to need wire, but that'll be brought in from the right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And now we need to start working on getting our setup for wires. I think these can make wires. Yeah, they can make wires. And then there, 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 there. Place that and that. Build wires. There we go. And then grab one of these. There. And now, butts. There we go. There we go. And there's our green circuits. Now, the next thing to build would be your red circuits. Which red circuits will need only more space. We're going to expand our territory quite a bit. I'm tired of placing down landfill and put down a whole bunch right now. Which, in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and go get... I'm going to go to here. Found a... Do not add. Where's our bots? Where are you? There. I love watching the bots play stuff out of my inventory because it feels like I'm like a 3D printer. Let's make a hive. We're going to call them Bumblebots, then I'm going to call what I'm about to create a hive. What? Actually, let's say 5. Alright, you need portable fusion reactors, Weish, exoskeleton, radar, and rocket turrets. So let's go with portable fusion reactor, because that's one thing we can craft. Portable fusion reactor, 5. It also needs LDS, which we might not have LDS provided in the system. Oh no, they're just far away. We need exoskeletons. Wait, does it need per one? 4. Okay, that's fine. Exoskeletons, radars, and rocket turrets. Radars, rocket turrets. And that's... I just thought of something I want to do before we make our first I want it to be possible for us to get it better than normal quality system. I need carbon fiber and a rocket launcher. Rocket launchers are cool enough. And I would like to have rocket launchers 5. And then for the rocket turrets, we only need carbon fiber, which I've actually never made carbon fiber, so I have no idea what I'm doing here. Rocket launcher, carbon fiber, made in a bio plant. Interesting. From Yako Mash and carbon. Very well. Need to go get a bio plant. Go ahead. Get back all that. Turn back on my system, my portable system. Where's my bio plant? There's my bio plant. And then what we're going to do is we're going to replace this with a bio plant, and we're going to turn its provider into an active provider chest, which will push items to the system. And then what we'll do with this is we'll say I guess it's down here. Yep, carbon fiber. We do 50. Build this to make the carbon fiber. And then we come in here and we tell this it wants nutrients of at least 100 and to trash the unrequested so that it gets rid of any spoilage that ends up in here from the Yako Mash or the nutrients from that rot. And that will give us the carbon fiber we need for these, which will then give us our Spidertrons. And then what I want to do with that is I want to go into here, I want to say Spidertrons, I want at least one legendary, one epic, and one rare. Then the other thing I'm going to set up is if I take a scrapper and put it into this active provider chest, it's going to request common Spidertrons and uncommon Spidertrons. And heck, we'll have it request rares as well, and I'll get rid of the rares in my inventory. Let's see here. I don't need these. I don't need these. I need to eventually go through and fill and sort my inventory better. How did you just produce fish? What do you mean? I didn't produce fish yet. We don't have fish. That's the one ingredient we're missing. As the last time I checked, fish don't survive. Oh, pronounce. Fish. Fish. Posh. Push. Now the question about fish, push, fish. Question of fish is a good question because really there's no way to make fish on this because fish breeding needs fish. Biochamber, 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 biochamber. That's not what we're doing. Biochamber, biochamber, chamber, and then a biochamber up here. And then there. And then there. of there. Yeesh. Boosh. Baish. Not entirely sure what you were meaning. How I pronounced it, that was confusing you. My answer shall be, I pronounced it the way it's pronounced. Actually, let's go ahead and do this. Faish. Yeah, the Faish. Honestly, that's not the first time I pronounced it like that. I've said Faish a lot before. There, and there. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. I know you've said that before, but it's one of those, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. Rider chest. Where is spoilage? Wait, is spoilage produced in? No, it's not. It's produced in a normal crafting thing. I had a feeling that was the case. And this one will take fish and turn it into nutrients. This one will take spoilage and turn it into nutrients. This will take, these are all set up where they're supposed to be. There, and there. And then you will do on the right side of the belt. You will do onto the right side of the belt. And then you take items off the belt if they are spoilage. Which then spoilage can go back up and be put into here. And then any excess spoilage go into there. That up until we have the nutrients we need for this. I feel like we should get nutrients. Yeah, we're gonna get nutrients eventually. Now we just need fish. But the only way to get fish that I know of is through this recipe. Fish! Fish. 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 Prioritize right. Fish. 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 Nutrients. this spoilage in my inventory somewhere? There it is. No, my fish. 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 Where is fish? Fish. What I need to do is I need to do this. Fish. The right. Now that'll prevent fish that rot, like right here, from going down this run. And then we do, to the right, we do fish as well. Why do you shake your head at fish? Not my fault, this is how you do fish breeding. How long does it take a fish to rot? 2 hours. My fish rot, there's a problem. Bring me spoilage. Is it working? Yes. Is it working fast? Not really. Our problem is that we don't have nearly enough fish. Oh, wait. I didn't do this right. Because now all the fish is going to go here. Let's just let it go whichever way it wants, and we'll see if spoilage backs up on this. It really shouldn't, because I don't feel like fish should take that long. No fish in the system yet. Getting closer. Once it backs up to here, we'll start getting it a lot faster, because the excess fish will get turned into so it does not work. So a direct feed like this will not work. That's okay. Actually, what I'll do is I'll do this. There we go. Now it will pull the fish from the supply chest. So there's no fish in the system, so I'm not going to set that up, because then it'll just pull fish from there and put it in there. Oh, getting closer. need 100 nutrients per fish? Holy moly. That means it needs 33 nutrients per second. This makes 30 per second. It's not even to keep up with all these. Oh. Happening. It may never actually use these, but that's fine. What it means is I need to build a better system for this. That's just the problem here. The two at the bottom aren't getting enough nutrients. The system doesn't make nutrients fast enough. I thought it was going to, but it's not. And I'm not, and I don't know, and I'm not. This is the one reason why I'm not a big fan of biolabs, because they need nutrients to run and nutrients to process things, but everything they're using spoils. Like, nutrients only last 5 minutes, and then it spoils. And if I use it from spoilage, it only has 50% of that, so it's only going to last 2.5 minutes. How do I set this up? There's a way to do this. I just need to put more thought process into it than I have so far. I could also technically put just get fish from the void. I wonder if there's another way to make fish. I never thought it'd be such a problem that I just can't get fish from fishing it. Yep, just fish breeding and ectoplasm and ectoplasmic conservation. Although then again, the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to get spidertrons. Technically, you don't need fish. Something that you rarely ever will need in this process. So let's take a look. Let's think on this. If I have the fish start in here, my fish breeding system, if this is where the fish and the nutrients are kept, and I do it like this, because if I think about it like uranium, and Kovrax enrichment with uranium, I can set them up like this. I also was a little bit surprised that they needed water. I mean, that shouldn't be surprising. I get that. Shouldn't be surprising that your fish breeding system needs water. But it was. Was not expecting to need water. Am I getting water from... Ooh, actually. The cracking system over here has water. So you will be fish, and you will be nutrients. There, 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 and there. And there, 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 and there. So that will take the fish and the spoilage out of here and put it back into this. Now, for here, and here at the end, I want to use this to say if there is spoilage, send it around the system and back into here. I can store all the spoilage into here. And from here, take spoilage out and put nutrients back in. This is working. It is providing, this is providing fish and nutrients. It's just not providing it fast enough. The next system is going to be more bioplants. And we do this, 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 and this. So then this runs over to here, runs down into here, and then runs over to here. Then this one will be fish. And then what I can do with this is run this system into here. And then from this, what I will say is the most I want from this system, which is going to be making nutrients, is 500 nutrients. That'll provide us with 500 nutrients. This system will only allow fish back into the system if our fish count, that's not fish, if our fish count is less than 500. Then this one will allow us to have fish constantly. Because what I'll do is I will go to here and make that nutrients. And nutrient stacks to 100. So if I make these, if I make 6 of these 100 stacks, everything else can be fish. That will allow the system to build completely on a fish. Now what I do is I take these, I take all of these. Stay away from me, the logistic box. There, 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 and there. You will go there. Because these need nutrients as well. And these make these into those. You will put on to the close belt. There we go. Now we're making a lot more nutrients. And there come the fish. This needs to only go up if fish is greater than 50. stop this here. Because that's another issue we're running into, is we're not getting enough fish. This. I want this. This will make nutrients from bioflux. Bioflux is made from Yumiko and that. Quest. And then this and this. Nutrients. Nutrients. Crash unrequested. Crash unrequested. Crash unrequested. Yep. Filter, foliage, who knew fish breeding could be this difficult, or this finicky at least. It wouldn't be so difficult if you could get fish from the water. Since I can't get fish from the water, it makes it a lot harder. We're getting there. this take nutrient? Can this take efficiency? It can. Does that mean it would be more efficient with its nutrients? It seems like it. Maybe. There's another one being given all of the things it needs. I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be a situation where I'm finally going to override the restriction. Because I don't know if there's a point where we're going to get enough fish to create enough nutrients to make this worth it. Because it's hard to tell. Seems like we're getting there. Oops. I was supposed to take that away. It's a lot like a more difficult version of Coverax enrichment. Problem with this though is that I need nutrients and fish. But according to get nutrients, I need to turn fish into nutrients. So I'm losing out on some of my product. And the problem with it is that nutrient spoils, which I'm running into the issue of. What I wish I could set up is I wish I could set up a system that would say, if there's, for the fish that go into here, prioritize making nutrients. What I actually want to do is I actually want to say that this can be as low as 50. This needs 100 nutrients per fish, but it's always going to have that. It's always going to stockpile it in here. And I don't want to stockpile nutrients because nutrients spoil so quickly. This is why Gleba is probably one of the worst planets on the in the whole pack. I liked every planet except Gleba. Then again, my only issue with this is that I need Spidertrons, and Spidertrons need fish. That one's carbon fiber. Oh, which takes Yakko mash, and probably aren't making nearly enough Yakko mash. Does this make Yakko mash? Yes, it does. Okay, that makes sense. Which, here's our Yakko fruit. Mako fruit, which is slowly spoiling, which is why it's all turning into spoilage. That's fine. Then this is the overflow of all of our spoilage on the network. Keeps all of it running. This one jelly nut, or is this one Yakko mash? That's one's yellow. That's jelly nut. This is Yakko mash. which has to be then processed. I think Yako fruit has to be made in the processed Yako fruit has to be done in a... Oh wait, no it doesn't. No it doesn't, it's just more, it's just better to be done in it because of the fact that it has productivity bonus, and I don't really care about the productivity bonus. So you, and now process Yako fish. There we go. Now that'll process that fruit a lot faster. Which is good because now we'll be getting more, which means should help with the fish process. Nope. We're having bio problems. Right, because these were being used for the... They destroy one of my... They destroy one of these? I'm under the impression they did. They did, or it's requesting it from the system. It's requesting it from the system, and the system failed to keep up. I only want you to do this. There's more than 20 in there. That'll keep it from using up all of those, which will keep this running. This stopped because I was using up all of these to make it was using all of these up to make nutrients, and I don't want it doing that. I want it to prepare. I want it to have enough that it's gotta work. There we go. That's making nutrients a lot faster now. Now it's making nutrients faster. We're making fish quickly. The only question now becomes, is it ever going to be enough for it to actually override, for us to actually make fish? And the answer to that is, I don't know. I'm under the impression that while yes, this is effective, no, it's not going to be as effective as I want it to be. That's the negative here. What I could do is I could do this. I want at least 5 in here. Put a supply chest here. I find it funny that I've completely seemingly forgot about the fact that this was all supposed to be that I was supposed to be focusing on making Spider-Trons. So it's a little bit funny to think that I completely forgotten that fact at a certain point. There we go. I think it is possible. I just don't think it's something that is. I don't think this is the ideal way of doing this. Unsurprisingly. Still don't have a Spider-Tron. Is the Spider-Tron waiting on? Portable nuclear reactors. What? Blue circuits. Yeah, that makes sense. The two things I never think I'll have enough of in this game is blue circuits and personal brain processing power. Spider-Tron. Alright, let's go over why we're building this thing. Why I'm putting so much effort into it. So Spidertrons are useful. One of the reasons Spidertrons have an equipment grid. This means we can throw bots into this thing and it will be able to construct, build, and fill its logistics system. So let's say I want to fill this thing's system up with ground. I'm also supposed to be able to control it. Although I've never used a Spidertron before, so... Now I can control the Spidertron. The next thing we need is a couple of these personal roboports. So I'm going to tell the system I want batteries. Batteries. I also need low density structures if we want to put personal battery parts in it. But right now, the one thing what I need is I need 3 of these. And because it just took them from me because it's a pain in the rear like that, I'm going to tell it I want at least 20 of these in the system. What we do is we go to here and we go there, there, and there. Now, we also need a generator. Gonna make another one. Those are nuclear reactors. We can go ahead and take those out of our system. I would also like portable fusion reactor. And then finally, battery packs. We're going to need low density structures. Oh, there. Oh wow, these take forever to build. How long am I planning on going for? I'm already 30 minutes past what I was planning on going. I've just been making a lot of progress today, and I'm kind of feeding on that. Probably another 10, 15, maybe 30 minutes at the most. Because I've got other stuff I gotta take care of today anyways. Alright. Now it's got that. The next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to say that it wants at least 100 bots. So we're picking 100 bots. Is there's 25? There's robot limit of 10. What? I thought it was a robot limit of 25. Well then. 30. Now, this spider bot has the setup I need for to have be able to do its process of walking around, and it can do whatever it wants. But if we watch, I'm gonna say build here. We're just gonna build a bunch of landfill up here. And the bot's not very smart, apparently. And we'll notice it's building. Now you can imagine how this will look when I get like a couple of legendary ones with legendary inventories. And I run it over here. Delicious box fills it. And I run it up here. But I would say Wolf is actually correct. We've gone for 2 hours and 30 minutes. That's a lot longer. That was 30 minutes longer than I was planning on going for. We've gotten the start for a base that will construct modules. Our plan is eventually going to be used to use this base to create all 4 module types, maybe even the special modules. I don't know about that one yet. And we've also made a fish breeding system, which arguably has process. I say that and it's not working. Why does it not work? I will try and do some research off screen for this. We're obviously making fish over here. Maybe I can use this system to feed this system. Who knows? I don't know. I have to look more into fish and that process and stuff, which we'll look into more later. But for now, I have been the Seven Swords. You've all been amazing. Fish are a pain in my rear, which makes me want to say something, but I'm not going to. But I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I hope you all catch the next one, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.